Weapons ready. Move in. Give them a proper English welcome.
So with the end of the weekend also came the end of the Modern Warfare Gunfight Alpha, which was really unfortunate, but what is actually surprisingly much more unfortunate is the fact that us as a community will no longer be able to be giving our opponents a proper English welcome, and honestly that just really sucks. But regardless, now that this grander Call of Duty community has actually been able to get their hands on Modern Warfare, and including me, I think it's a good time to just talk about my thoughts on this alpha. And this is something that I kind of want to do because I spent a ton of time playing this. I think I have 15, maybe even 18 plus hours. Like, I spent so much time playing this and was having a blast almost every second of it, and it was just really cool, and that's exactly why I want to share my thoughts on this. Now, I want to first start this all off with movement, and I've kind of recorded this video a couple times out, and I had to re-record this because I just spent too much time talking about movement. But first thing is that going into this alpha, I thought movement was going to be a problem. I thought we were going back to the, I guess, the movement speed of Call of Duty 4. Like, that's honestly what I thought we were doing. I thought we were going to be a slower Call of Duty game. I never thought we were going to Rainbow Six Siege, I guess, speed, but I always thought we were going to go like back in time with Call of Duty speed, which is something I wasn't too excited for because I like the faster paced Call of Duty games. But to my surprise, this game actually plays really fast. Like, it honestly doesn't look that fast when you're watching it, but when you play, it feels really fast as long as you know how to play. Like, if you know how to play properly, then you could play this game really fast and actually be successful in doing so. I mean, obviously, if you're staying and going and mounting your gun every second, you're not going to be able to, I guess, experience this. But when you are just playing the game fast, you're going to be able to play the game fast and be successful in that way. I'm just so happy about this. And I believe this goes to three different things. The first thing is that the fact that we have infinite sprint. Thank goodness. I thought it wasn't going to be a thing because I couldn't tell just from the gameplay, but it seems like we have infinite sprint. This is again normal sprint, but it looks like we're going to be able to have infinite sprint, which is just should be a standard, and I shouldn't have to praise it for it, but then I have to go and look at Call of Duty World War II on launch. But regardless, you know, that's just something that I think really helps the pace of the game. Another thing is sliding. Sliding, like I say every single time, that sliding is the best and most superior hold circle thing when you're playing. It's way better than dolphin diving or anything like that. It's just so much better. Now, I will say that sliding kind of feels clunky sometimes, but then other times it feels really smooth, and I'm hoping this is something they're working out and they're just trying to make it feel smooth, like kind of smooth, but not like Black Ops 4's smoothness, because I feel like that's not what they're going for. But I feel like sometimes when you're sliding in this game, it feels like there's a guy around the corner, you hit that slide just right, and then you're just able to destroy that guy while he's just camping a corner and you were able to slide kill him. And then sometimes it feels like you're going to go run, you go hit slide, and all of a sudden your character's bouncing on the floor and like kind of sliding like you would in real life because no one knows how to slide properly. Or I just hope it's something they're working out, just something they're fixing and just making it feel good. But regardless, I do want to touch on what I believe to be my favorite feature that they've ever put into a Call of Duty movement thing, and this is the super sprint. Super sprint is just amazing. Like, there's no other way to describe it. It makes the pace of the game so much better. Like, especially when you're playing and like you spawned in and you just want to get to a point fast, you do super sprint, you get there fast. Or if you hear someone around the corner that you have to get there fast and you just want to get there before they leave, then you just go ahead, activate super sprint, and you could get there much faster. And this is just so cool because it makes you move much faster than you normally would do with just normal sprint. But on top of that, it does have the trade-off that if you're caught super sprinting, you're going to be in trouble because your ADS time is just going to be much lower because of that. And I just really like the trade-off, and I think it could be used so well because if you know how to use it properly, you're just going to be a much better player. But regardless, that's all I want to say about movement. In general, I really like it. It's really cool, and I just love what they did with movement inside this game. But regardless, the other thing I was kind of worried about was recoil, and this is something that I was worried about because when you see gameplay of it, it looks like recoil is crazy. Like, let's be real, you watch gameplay of this and you just don't know, it's like, am I able to control that recoil? But to my surprise, this game is recoil, even though it looks crazy, it's honestly not that hard to control. Like, most guns are really easy to control once you start using them. I mean, at first it feels like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? But really, they aren't as difficult as they look to control. Like, when you're watching gameplay, it looks crazy, but when you're playing, it doesn't feel crazy, which I don't know how they did, but it just feels really nice and looks really cool, and I just can't believe they nailed that so well. But at the same time, I do have to admit there was one gun I could not figure out the recoil of, and that was an AK-47, and I'd love to hear if you guys also had this problem, but I just could not control the recoil on that gun at all, and I think I performed worse with the AK-47 than any other gun in the game, and that includes the M19. Like, I think I even did better with the M19 than the AK-47, and for the most part, the recoil, I feel like, isn't as bad as it looks, and I think that actually has to do with faster time to kill. I think that's the main reason why, is because it's not like Black Ops 4 where it takes like 7 bullets to kill someone. Another thing I had, I guess I was kind of worried about going in, that I was relieved to see wasn't that big of a problem, was the ADS time, like, or the sprint out time. I guess kind of a mixture of both of them. Well, I'll call it ADS just because it's easier, but it looked like when you watch the gameplay of this, like, it looks like the guns take forever to ADS, and that was kind of a worry I had with it. And yes, that's true for some guns, like I guess a couple of the LMGs. I think the L84 something, I actually don't know what the gun's called. Like, that gun's ADS time is ridiculous. The sniper is a little bit ridiculous and stuff like that, but for the most part, especially with SMGs, the ADS time is amazing. Like, honestly, it's so good. And honestly, I think that the assault rifles and SMGs are just going to be way better than any other gun, which of course they always are, but the ADS times on those guns compared to all the other ones, it's honestly not even close. Like, wow. Regardless, it's just like, you know, the ADS time on those guns are just so nice, and they play really smooth for the most part, and I just really do like them. Except the AK-47 also has a slow ADS time, at least the versions of it that we played with. And this, of course, is not taking into account all the attachments. Obviously, keep that in mind, but you know, it is something that I did notice, that I think for the most part the ADS times are really good. I do want to talk about quickly a couple other small things that I like. Quickly, I want to go over a couple of things that I like that don't take too much time to explain. One thing, the headshot sound. Amazing, sounds amazing, really do like it. Another thing is that the C4, oh my gosh, the C4 in this game, it's so nice being able to detonate it by tapping square while it's in the air. I just like that so much. I just miss it so much. It was my favorite thing to do, and it was fun to troll people back in the day when you had a riot shield and you just throw a C4 at them with fast hands, just blow them up. It was amazing. I hope you're able to do this. I hope there's a riot shield, which I think we've already seen inside some promotional material, so I think that's going to be the case. And I mean, another thing I just liked is the variety that we were able to play with. Like, I think there were 19 guns in the game, including bazookas, pistols, shotguns, ARs, LMGs, just every type of gun. There were 19 guns inside the game, and also I think there were, if I'm not mistaken, 12 different types of equipment, which was so great to see, and it really gets me optimistic for what we're going to expect when we get the full game. I'm hoping it's not like Black Ops 4 where we already saw everything in the alpha and beta and, you know, stuff like that, but, you know, I'm hoping there's going to be much more from what we've seen. And again, there's a couple other things I'd love to go over, and also if you guys do want to share anything you really liked about the game, go and do that down in the comments, but I just don't want to make this video too long. But now getting into some negative things, because, you know, it's 2019 and that's how Call of Duty YouTubers have to be. Like, you can't just say a positive thing about Call of Duty anymore. Like, that's just not a reality we live in anymore, right? It's all like, oh wait, I said that was great, but guys, remember this is bad too. Look at this. Look, this is bad too. And honestly, it's so annoying, but I do want to actually talk about this, even though it does annoy me when I watch other YouTubers where they're constantly saying, like, if they say one thing good about it, they have to say 5 things bad about it, which is honestly so annoying to me and eye-rolling to me at this point. But regardless, that's not the point of this video. But I do actually still want to talk about some negative things, because they are actually concerns that I have, and these are things that I kind of ran into multiple times, and most of these are going to be fixed by launch, because they're kind of things that are you know, going to be fixed because it's an alpha. But this is actually connection I want to quickly touch on, and I've actually never had a bad experience with connection until this alpha, which is crazy to say. Like, you guys may not believe me, but I've honestly never had a major problem with connection until this alpha, and I'm not even joking. Like, honestly, sometimes with the connection of this, it just felt like way off. I'm all like, I got behind that wall like a full second ago, which is just crazy, because, you know, you always have those Call of Duty moments where you're like, I definitely got behind cover and they still killed me anyways, which again is because of connection. But this one felt really bad, but then again, it's an alpha, so that's to be expected, and, you know, that's kind of a thing. And also, yeah, just you know, a couple things like that, so I'm not going to go too much into that. But another thing that that really annoyed me is the nameplates that would appear like not over the character, because especially on Pine, like I would see someone like camping one of the vehicles back in their spawn, and I see their name pop up on my screen, and I'm all like, I don't see anybody there, but I mean, they have to be there, right? Because, you know, there's their name right there. So I'm shooting like where I believe is right in the middle of their name, which is normally where the character is, but then I'm not getting any hit markers, and then all of a sudden they just kill me right back, and I'm just like, how was I missing my shots? And then when I watch the gameplay back, I'm realizing that the nameplate is like 3 feet to the left of where it should be, and because of that, I'm just shooting at nothing, which just really sucked and really threw off my aim so many times, especially on Pine, which I just, you know, was kind of annoying. So, you know, that was a thing. Another thing I want to mention real quick is that sometimes it felt like the buttons just wouldn't work. I don't know if anybody else had this experience, but sometimes, like, when I went to go melee someone, my character would just stand there like an idiot, and I just be all like, I just freeze and just stand there like an idiot. Like, it happened, I think, 6 times. I mean, most of the time when I went to melee, it wouldn't do that. Let me make that clear. But there were those times where I'm just like hitting melee, and he just like, do something, kill this dude with the melee, and instead my character just stays still, and I just don't know why that's the case, and it's just something that's kind of annoying, and I just don't get it. And I don't know if anybody else experienced that, but it did happen to me a decent amount of times. And another thing is that mounting wouldn't work sometimes. Like, I click X to mount, and my character would just stand there. I'm hitting X, is like, hello, are you going to do something? And again, these are things that will probably be fixed by like even beta, but these are things that were just like, hello, okay, you know, I guess you do you don't listen to me, I guess. But, you know, those are just, again, things that'll probably be fixed. But talking about 2 things right here, and actually finishing off with these last 2 things that really did annoy me, honestly. These 2 things, like, actually got me frustrated and actually made me quit playing for a couple hours. And this first one is your screen going black and white. Like, why? Why would you do this? Like, I need an actual explanation. I mean, I guess because you got injured, go black and white? No, that's just dumb. I don't actually understand this, because all that happens is if you're in a gunfight and you get shot first, and you're already at that disadvantage because you're weaker than your opponent that you're trying to kill, then when you're trying to shoot back, you can't see where he is, because it's harder to make out people when it's black and white than when it's in color, which is just so dumb, especially when someone's by a bush. I can't see them for the life of me when my screen's black and white, and I just absolutely hate it. Like, please don't do this. Like, please remove the black and white screen. It's kind of the same problem that we had with Black Ops 4 at launch and at beta. Like, the screen would get all black when you would get shot, which was just so dumb, by the way, but you were just kind of running into the exact same problem again. It's like, except now instead of going black, it's going black and white, and now it's harder to make out people because it's hard to make out things without color. So, you know, it's just kind of dumb, and I don't get it. Just a dumb feature that just really shouldn't be a thing, and I don't like it in the slightest. Another thing, and probably the final thing I want to be talking about here, is head glitches. This is beyond the biggest problem in the game. Like, head glitches just made me rage so many times because they're just dumb. It's honestly dumb. Like, you could see the tip of the helmet of somebody, and they're able to shoot you just by revealing the tip of their helmet, and it's ridiculous. Like, head glitches they're out of control in this game, and they need to be fixed. Like, this is actually the worst thing about this, and I'm not even joking. This actually is dumb, not okay, and it's not fun to play against, and I don't like doing it, and I refuse to do it except for 2 times. I will admit I did it 2 times, but I tried to avoid doing it almost entirely just because how annoying it is. Like, it's one of those things that are so annoying to me that I refuse to even exploit, which is rare for me. I like using every possible advantage for the most part, but this is something that just is really not good, and they really should adjust it where they cannot see until they reveal more of their body, because having it just the tip of their head and they could see over cover and that's all you could see of them is just not okay, and it's not fun to play against, and it ruined the map Pine for me. Like, I thought Pine was going to be the best map out of all of them when we first started playing, which of course this isn't the only problem with it. I realize there's a couple other problems with it, but really this makes Pine disgusting to play. Like, when you have people camping at their head glitches where only the tip of their helmet's sticking out and they're able to kill you and not able to really do anything, it's just not fun, and I don't like it, and it needs to be fixed as soon as possible. It needs to be fixed by beta, in fact, because I'm not going to have any fun playing the beta if people are going to be able to do this. But regardless, that's all I really want to say, and that's all I really have for this video. I'd love to hear what your guys' thoughts are on my thoughts. What do you guys think about, or if you want to add more thoughts that you guys had about the alpha down in the comments, I'd love to hear all that. Just go ahead, comment anything you really want down in the comments, and just thoughts, opinions on my thoughts, or just thoughts on the alpha as a whole. But regardless, if you guys did enjoy the video and you want to see more videos similar to this, then go ahead, do all the normal YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff. But I'm going to go and I'll catch you guys next stream, video, or whatever it may be. But laters, guys.